With trash and $20, I am beating the desert heat. I haven't planted any seeds, I haven't given it any irrigation, and without even plants in mind, I grew one of the greenest spots on the Dustups Ranch. This is real greenery thriving in one of the harshest landscapes that I know. And what started with a very simple goal of protecting trailer tires resulted in me learning a key lesson in establishing my desert forest. And even though I accomplished the key idea that I set out to do, which was building a shade wall, the core lesson was something unexpected. And it only happened because I'm busy and working and getting started. When you're still in the early learning phases of a new skill or a new plan, you can plan for the rest of your life, but until you get the feedback of real-world experience, you're never going to make any progress. This shade wall, as humble as it is a critical step for me establishing my desert forest. You're going to join me on this short journey where I show you how starting with an Earthship project resulted in me having a key insight for my desert forest. I love the idea of the Earthship. I just don't know what to expect, and I've always done a terrible job setting way too ambitious goals. So, for my Earthship test, we're gonna solve the most mundane and slightly ridiculous problem to have on 320 acres in the middle of nowhere, which is parking. I have a bulldozer, a mini excavator, a dump trailer, utility trailer, generator on a trailer, a dually, the Tacoma, and then guests have the nerve to drive vehicles too. It actually gets crowded out here, which is absurd. And a lot of it is just because the space is not utilized efficiently. So if I make a single wall, which is where the dump trailer goes every single time, it's gonna help solve a couple of problems. One is parking, and two is this murderous sun. If you don't know what dry rotting of a tire is, it's where the sun basically eats tires. The rubber gets all crumbly and then it loses its structural integrity and it doesn't work. It's such a weird concept to solve dry rotting tires with a wall made out of tires. But if you've ever seen the huge tire dumps in Kuwait, or really tire dumps in the middle of deserts, because it is beyond my sand and rocks, the most abundant resource out here, if I can be efficient and find good uses for tires, like Miss Debbie showed me for tree rings, then I might have a leg up. Now, this is the point in the story where everything takes a dramatic shift. I love the idea of efficient building materials, and I really wanted a reason to do something with Earthship, something that would have an immediate payoff without signing up for building a whole new building. Earthships are a type of off-grid home, and the idea is that you use recycled materials. It can be bottles or cans, but for the most part, people use tires. And it's the same experience I had when we gathered a trailer load of tires. They're free. People are really happy to dump tires. If you want tires, you can get all the tires you want. The difficult part is the tires have to be packed with earth. You've got to pour the dirt in there, but then to really get them to fill out and to stack evenly without moving over time, you have to hammer all that material in to get the tire to mushroom and accept as much material as the air in the tires would normally fill. All that dirt in there is very heavy. It provides a lot of thermal mass. It helps the Earthship stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And very much in the off-grid mindset, they're designed to be self-sustaining, harvesting rainwater, generating solar power, and even growing food indoors. The idea is to build a house that takes care of most of its needs, almost like a living organism. However, my experience starting and stopping the sandbag cabin made me realize the importance of setting a very modest goal when the goal is not, nominally it's the shade wall, but the goal was to gain experience building something Earthshippy. And a shade wall was the lowest thing I could think of where I could gain experience without signing up for a major undertaking. Of course, I don't actually have my trailers here because Daniel is working on both of them, but normally this is our trailer bay. And what happens is behind me is due south, and the sun just bakes down on the tires. And if you know anything about dry rot, when tires sit in the sun, they look dry and crumbly, and that means that they're about to explode if you put any weight on them and you go fast on the highway. The goal of the shade wall is just to keep the sun off my tires because we have so many flat tires. The more I can avoid, it's money in my pocket. I've got the utility trailer on the Tacoma. I just gotta put some tires on it and drag them over here and start arranging things and see how bad the leveling issue is. And this is going to be the tedious part. The tires and filling them seems like most of the work, but the actual important work is going to be spending time to level things correctly and making sure that we build a good foundation. There's proverbs or something about that. So we'll want to get all these partially like we have them, run the vibratory plate over them, then they'll need to get another second and probably third helping, and the first layer will be done. 3 more tires, and then we'll start going that way. But not very far into the project, this is what I realized. As I'm sitting here filling dirt, I've been working for an hour and a half, and in that time I got the vibratory plate started. I have mostly completed 1 tire, and I am still, there's a couple of pockets in here that need to be filled. Basically, this is so wildly inefficient with my time. I'm gonna call an audible and get some value out of this, and we're just gonna use pallets. I know I can source them. They'll provide the shade. If I ever want to build on top of this, I can. So none of the work goes to waste. This is a great footer for all this stuff, but in no way is building a tire wall a good use of time. We're going to change the plan. So the key lesson here, I wasn't even trying to plant anything, and I accidentally built a water harvesting structure that is growing plants that I didn't try to plant. Shade and water. Those are the key ingredients to get life going out here. So now I can go apply those lessons to the terraces, where my biggest problem by far on this project has been getting trees to grow in the spot where I want them to be permanently. I've had the X-Peak from Electric E-Bike for a couple of months now, and I've only used it for ranch errands, but I finally carved out 30 minutes to go for just a pure joyride. No tools, no truck, no trailer, just running along the ridges all across the Dustups Ranch. And the whole experience reminded me why I love this bike so much. This thing is built for off-road. Full suspension, fat tires, disc brakes, and enough torque to climb loose desert slopes without any problem. Electric e-bikes are solid, tough, and they are made for terrain as tough as the Dustups Ranch. My normal use is, this is my daily driver. I run up to the nursery, I run up to the terraces. Anywhere I go, I'm usually on this bike. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to check out a ride that'll fit you. And here's a bonus. Add a bike cover to your order and get it for free with the code DUSTUPS when you check out. Affordable, capable, and fun. Go check out Electric E-Bikes, because you are supporting the Dustups channel as you get yourself a sweet ride. Without the support of my sponsors, and ultimately you supporting my sponsors, that's what makes the Dustups project possible. Please go give them a serious consideration. And now back to the episode. Now that Daniel's on board full-time, he took on a project of his own, which is getting us pressurized water in the kitchen. We wanted to take advantage of a reverse osmosis filter that Water Drop gave us, and which we're absolutely delighted to have. But in order for the filter to work, we really did need pressurized water, and I wouldn't have rated that as a top priority before I had it, but now that I see how much it speeds up every little task we do, between washing hands, washing dishes, irrigating beans and other things we have near camp, life is so much better with this. But Daniel is not a plumber. He also had to go through a learning curve to decide, how do you build a system of pressurized water where there's no water? The most logical source is the 1,100-gallon cistern that we had near camp, but it was located across the road. It's so much easier to have the water right next to the building for every possible reason. So the first thing we needed to do was to move a cistern that still had 50 gallons of water in it that was very difficult to pump out. It sounds obvious that, well, why don't you just pump the water out? Well, you have to get the water off of the ground where it's only an inch or so deep, and we would blow the pump if we tried to get that last little bit of water out, and it can't be drained because it's below the actual spigot. So the most logical solution was just to use the tools at hand to get the cistern in the best possible spot we could with the resources available.
How can I put these?
Here, I'll keep the tension for you.
I don't know how I'm going to get this to stay up, but maybe the same way I did the other one. Because I wanted to pull on the side of the tank, not try to slide underneath it.
Right.
Is it kind of holding?
Yeah.
So now if this starts sliding or whatever, it does, because as it rotates, it might start pulling like out.
Yeah.
Which is fine as long as it doesn't pull the other thing up.
Okay, I'll be yelling at you.
All right, good.
The goal is to make sure that we don't break that. Good. More. Oh, stop.
Like it would actually reach.
Yeah. Okay, do you have enough?
Yeah, and it's not pulling on this too hard, is
No,
it?
not at all.
Good.
So it is rotating the way you want. This is gonna be behind. You should probably start cutting to the right.
All right.
Stop. You know, maybe if you just bring the truck over this way and you just drag it back a little bit.
Okay.
That's not ideal, but acceptable.
That might.
Yeah, keep going. It's putting too much tension on the ball valve.
So we need to wrap it again.
Yeah. How do you want to keep this one up? Worked out pretty good, Daniel. Is there any point moving it closer? Looks pretty good.
The amount of pipe I got.
That's a good reason. About another foot. Stop. I think it's about as close as you're gonna get because it's starting to shovel. Now we can unhook the Franken monster rigging. Ratchet straps for the win.
Yeah. You know, like this. What should we do? Start with the pump. We need to hook the pump up once we go from the pump, and then we need to get that dent out of the top of the cistern.
The last time I did that, it was because it was empty, and I just put my back up and rolled up.
That's better. We might have to cut through that insulation a little better.
Yeah, because it's a little off center. Okay, you got to move it to your right. Yeah, push. There you go, you're through.
Awesome.
And that was definitely a two-man job. You just need to clean out a little insulation from the pipe, and that's it. This is the final system outside, and the way this works is the pumps down here flow up and into a mix of a pressurized tank that holds about 4 or 5 gallons, and then the pump sends that water directly inside. But we have a couple of important features. One is this pre-filter, and you can see how important this is. This actually saved the pump already because we caught a washer in this. Had that washer gone through, this would be a $300 pile of junk. Say that the water in the cistern has been sitting too long and we need to circulate it. All of these ball valves are what make it possible. So I can shut this flow into the kitchen, flip this, and now check out what's happening. All that water is circulating. Or say that we need to suck water out of an IBC tote. What we can do is open this valve and the water will flow in through the tank, and then we shut that valve, open this one, and it'll flow right up to the top of the tank in the exact same way that I just showed you. Or what if I need to fill a swamp cooler or really do anything, or even take a shower? Daniel built in a spigot so that we can have pressurized water with a hose whenever we need it. And of course, we need water to leave the kitchen. This is a temporary setup, but what we've done is we're sending water out of the kitchen down here and just, for now, unfortunately, dumping it on the ground because at some point you gotta pause the project and move on to the next thing. But Daniel planted some hatch chilies and a whole bunch of cowpeas, and as you can see, with a little bit of shade and a whole lot of water, everything looks amazing.
So to give y'all an idea, sink, it's a double bowl sink going here. Cooktops are going here. Refrigerator is either going to go here or right around here. I'm thinking over here just though it's closer to the edge and I can build more cabinetry underneath here. That way we can keep our pots, pans, and stuff like that. This is just a wood burn finish I'm thinking about doing. It is going to get, mineral oil finish over top of that. One, because it's food safe. Just wanted to give it a little nicer look than just plain plywood.
This cabin used to be a glorified outhouse. And the reason it was selected as the outhouse is that it was in the roughest shape with mold and half the insulation missing. We had to spend a considerable amount of time rehabbing this building so that we would have a blank slate to consider converting it to a kitchen. And now that Daniel has a clean space to work in, he needed to think out loud about what goes where.
I need to get to work on the sink so I can get that measured and know what to cut out. This shelf is going away, and then I've got to route electrical to underneath for the refrigerator and for the water system. All in all, slow work in progress, but the easier it is to live out here and stay out here, the faster we can get this forest going and put more work into building the forest and possibly getting more volunteers to come out and help out. So I give it a little more character and look a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna throw this back up on here, clamp it back down. So I'm gonna go get something heavy. This seems like it may work. We do have an abundance of rocks, so I put a rock up here to kind of flatten it out so I can get the C-clamp on there a lot easier. Now I'm going to go see what screws we have. Again, this is all still temporary, but you get the idea of what it's going to look like. All right, there we go. See if I gotta trim anything else up. Perfect.
The shade wall was established back in April, and I've been giving updates on Team Dustups throughout the process. If you want to see the progress, whether it's the shade wall, all the stuff that we've done in the kitchen, I share updates every week. Most of those are with videos, some of them with photos, but always fresh news, hot off the presses, right here from Dustups. Scan the QR code that you see on the screen or click the link in the description to join Team Dustups. That'll bring you as up to date as possible. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I will see you in the next episode.